Hello friends, this is Vishakha Daga coming up with next round of Q Simplified. Now having records of birth and death and having that certificate is very important, especially if you're looking for driving license or your passport and everything. You need those kind of certificates. And but the process is little complicated and many few are actually aware of it. Today we're going to enhance our awareness about that because the government of India has proposed some changes in the process of the registration of birth and death by making changes to the Registration of Birth and Death Act of 1969. So in this video, we're going to discuss number one, the old act, that is the Registration of Birth and Death Act of 1969, and how the registration is done so far. Second thing we're going to discuss is what is the changes that are being proposed. Third thing we'll see is the significance of the changes. And the last but not the least is we're going to read about the Registrar General of India, that what kind of body it is, what are its function, etc. We're going to discuss in the video. But before doing that, just actually give me the answer to this question. Consider the following statement about the registration of birth and death in India. The responsibility of the implementation of the registration of birth and death 1969 in the country is of the Registrar General of India. Just correct this. This is not a correct. You have to make a minor change in the statement. Is of the Registrar General of India. So the responsibility is of the Registrar General of India. And India, at present, for the sake of simplicity of death and birth registration, it is maintained by the Registrar General of India. So first statement talks about the implementation of the act is done by the RGI. Second statement talks about that the birth and death registration is maintained by the RGI. So which of the following statement is right? Just think about it, because in the end of the video, you'll know the answer. Okay, let's just move ahead and let's just see the process. First of all, we're going to talk about what is the importance of maintaining this registrar, maintaining the record of the death and birth. Since Mauryan time, people were aware. Even when you read the administration set up by the Kautilya, you know that he was actually registering the population of the country. Because for any government to run, they should be aware what is the population, how many people are actually born in the country, how many people are dying. So in average, some of the population, in order to deliver various kind of services to them. So the number of population should be there. How many number of people are in the country, it should be known to the government so that they can actually deliver the services to them. So it is very important for the public service delivery. Also, it is very important when you want to know the data about what is maternal mortality rate, what is infant mortality rate, what is the death rate, birth rate, etc. It's very important. Even you read in NCRTs. So that's why we're keeping this data. This highlights the importance of keeping the data. Number one, it is important for the government. Second, it is important for the citizen, because it is by using these kind of certificate, they're able to avail various kind of services, and they can avail various kind of certificate like your domicile certificate, like your driving license. You need these kind of certificate in order to avail the secondary certificate you need to have a better life. Okay, this is very clear. So it is important for two reasons. Number one, for the government. Number two, for the citizen. So like if you're making a diagram, if you're explaining it in a paper, explain it that way. Importance at the two-way level. Now let's just move ahead and understand what was the old process. How the government was actually acquiring the number, how many people have died, how it was registering the birth and death rate. Now to understand that, first of all, it is actually done under the Registration of Birth and Death Act of 1969. So this is the legal, right? So this is the legal process. This is done under this Act of 1969. Now under this, it is mandatory to register the birth and death. This is very important. Just keep in mind, it is not an optional process. If a child is born and if somebody has died, it is important for the relative to register it mandatorily, right? It is very important. So this kind of question can be asked in UPSC. Is it an optional exercise or mandatory? It is a mandatory exercise. Next thing also, that who actually does it? Then local registrar which is appointed by the state. It is responsibility of this person. Local registrar appointed by the state is so far responsible for maintaining this kind of registry. Local registrar at state level, that is being happening. Also, but the biggest problem in the entire process was this was understanding the old process done under this act. It is mandatory and it is done by the local registrar. Now the important problem is the process was not people friendly, and the data was existing in silos. So the government was not having an integrated data in order to create a holistic picture, which was a very big problem. Now, and somebody needed a service at the center level, it will have to avail the certificate at state level, so which could be done actually seamlessly. You just have to apply, and center can avail the data from the state. This could have been an easy process. Now, in order to make the process simple and citizen friendly, the new changes are proposed. Now, what are the new changes? Let's just understand. Now, under new changes, the state, now the responsibility, so far the responsibility is not taken from the state even. State has its responsibility. What it does is, an extra duty is being created with the chief registrar of the state. Now, chief registrar of the state will maintain a unified data. So whatever data is available at the local level, at the village, panchayat or city level, it will be unified at the chief registrar level. So he will maintain a unified data. So imagine this is Andhra Pradesh, this is Bihar, and this is Manipur. Now all three of the state are maintaining a unified data at the chief registrar level. Now this data will be again integrated at the central level, that is, it is maintained by it is actually unified at the Registrar General of India level. These are the new changes. Now a unified data will be maintained at the chief registrar level, and this entire data will be integrated at the Registrar General of India level. So here what is happening? Integration of data is being taking place. This is very important. Also, very important provision is in times of disaster. So if there is a disaster, example, there is flood in Maharashtra, because it occurs very often. There's a flood in Maharashtra, and the main office is actually closed, and somebody was born on this day. Not she or he has to be registered on that day. In that case, a special registrar will engage on spot registration of birth or death, because in event of disaster, many death happens, and even the birth can happen. Now, in that case, since the normal state infrastructure is not working, it will be responsibility of the special sub registrar, to maintain on record data, to actually on spot register the birth and death. So this is the third important change. Unified data at chief registrar level, integration of data at the Registrar General of India level, and special registrar to on spot register the birth and death. These are three provisions that you're going to memorize them. Okay. Now next, let's move ahead to the significance. Why it is important? Because we have integrated the data. So this is already going to help the government, as I talked about. It will also help the citizen, because the entire process is going to be citizen friendly. And now citizen can avail various certificate in a very easy manner, like Aadhaar card, ration card, driving license, passport. Now it will be easy process for a citizen to avail all of that, because there is a unified data with the center. Also, but there are certain challenges of skepticism. It is considered this is also one of the steps to NRC or NPR. The problem is not as such, not many people are raising concern, but that is yet to be seen. I hope the process is done transparent and the skepticism are taken care of. Now this was understanding the entire process. So let's come back to the last but most important process, is that not the process but the body, that is Registrar General of India. Because we talked about the Registrar General of India, Registrar General of India is actually a statutory body. It was established like before 1961, but at that time it was an ad hoc body. Now in 1961, it became a body under Ministry of Home Affairs. It is a body existing under Ministry of Home Affairs. Now its full name is Registrar General and Census Commissioner of India. Just remember, it is a statutory body, and its functions involve conducting a demographics survey, like number of people in the country, that is the census population. Second, also conduct the linguistic survey of India, and it is this body which is responsible for the implementation of registration of birth and death act of 1969. Just be careful about one thing in here. It is responsible for the implementation. That means it oversee the entire process, but it doesn't register, because so far registration process was done by the local registrar. Abhi tak, right? The proposed changes are yet to be implemented, and so far it is done by the local registrar. This was overseeing the entire process, and that's why you're going to answer the question correctly now. Number one, the responsibility of implementation of the act in the country is of RGI. The statement is right. Second, in India at present, for sake of simplicity, death and birth register is maintained by the Registrar General of India. This statement is wrong, because now, so far, it has been done by the local registrar. The proposed changes are yet to be implemented. So in this case, the statement 1 is true, but the 2 is correct. Okay, so I'm sorry, 1 is true, but the 2 is wrong. So the answer is A only. If you have any doubt, then leave them in the comment section. Okay, and if you don't, then like and subscribe our video. Thank you so much.
Current Affairs by Forum IAS is an all-in-one program that covers the dynamic aspect of the syllabus from both prelims and mains perspectives. Last year, we have helped more than 100 students crack IAS with our current affairs classes.